Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Warren from the Paladin Journal, and today we're going to do a follow-up video from my last one, which we looked at what we could expect to see from the Warhammer Online preview on Saturday. It was going to cover the four systems, as we can see here, 40k, AOS, the Old World, and Kill Team. And we've seen the reveals now, and I have to say they're a bit of a mixed bag. Um, in many respects, and there's been some surprising information uh, in those previews, especially if you haven't been keeping up with any of the chatter about leaks and stuff that's coming down the pipeline that was not official until we got to the preview. So, anyways, let's kick off with Warhammer 40,000, and the first thing is the Necrons. So the Necrons are getting a new model for Imhotep, the Stormlord, as we can see here. It's a pretty nice looking model, if I do say so myself. But, there are some issues with it. And it's not something that's unique to this model, but rather with the Necron range itself. So, first of all, the model by itself, with no other context, it's amazing. Very good details. It's got some extra bling to show that Imhotep is a big deal. He's the leader of an entire dynasty of Necrons, and he has a fancy cloak and like that Necronish tabard that he has going for him there. But if you look at some of the other Necron Lord models, character or not character, you can see that the pose it's a little too similar. So like he has his staff in one hand, and he has like in his other hand, he's looking at something. Like something's supposed to be there. He's like he's saying, "Come over here," or he's looking at a Necron or Resurrection orb, like some of the lords do. And the overall posing of the model is too similar with those other models, and I think that takes away from what could otherwise have been a really amazing model. And plus his tactical rock, as people tend to call it. It looks rather plain. Like I don't think we got a really good look at it, except from whatever we have in the images, and it's it looks plain. I mean, there's some nice detailing on his cloak, and it's kind of like it's an energy cloak and not like a usual cloak of fabric, whatever. So that definitely fits with the vibe that Necrons have, and it fits his status as a Necron Lord, a named Necron Lord. But the base could do with some work, and it's like like he doesn't stand out if he's in an army with a bunch of other Necron Lords. Um, he's not particularly going to stand out unless it's him. Whereas it's like if they had made him like some kind of a raised dais, or given him some more embellishment, like say the one of the assassin models, the straight Vindicare. I believe he has like a piece of terrain, like an arch, like a broken arch thing behind him. Something like that could have been really good here. Um, but a good model on its own, but unfortunately, not particularly striking. And of course, the Necron Codex is coming very soon, and in the article they did confirm that he's one of a handful of new models. So as I said in my preview video, probably the other named Necron Lords, like Oricon the Diviner, Traz and the Infinite, uh, who are all currently Finecast, they might be making the jump as well, which would be nice for the army as a whole. But if I'm honest, I would like to see a new Necron unit, perhaps a tank, you know, something more tanky than what we have in the range. Like we have flyers with the doom sides and stuff, and we have the command barges and the annihilation barge, the triarch stalker. But if we can get something more that's in the tank variant, but with of course with the Necron theme, something with spider legs or something. I think there's a lot that could be covered there, and I would love to see them explore that idea, that thematic rework that Necrons got like a decade back. I would like to see that come to the fore much more. So moving on, Necrons and oh sorry, Admech, and in this case it's the Stilt Boy, as some people are calling him, and again, like it's a nice concept. He's a sniper. He can either snipe infantry with his radium Giselle, or he can snipe like characters and like tanks with his transuranic arquebus. But I have to say, nice concept again, but the execution really misses the mark. And unlike Imhotep, who is let down by his base and a similar model, similar pose to other models in the range, with this guy, his problem is he's way too static, and his legs they are too rigid. Like there's no dynamism to the model at all. Like if you can see, uh, he's holding the weapon, and I think he's reloading. If yeah, so if you look towards the left, towards the right of the model, if you're looking at me, um, like you can see that he's about to inject a new round into the rifle and something. So that's really cool element. But like again, his legs are way too rigid, and he has this like exhaust pipe or this cod pipe running down the middle. It looks just awkward as hell, and I don't know. It's like I really feel let down with this model because like it's something that could have been really good again. If they had given him legs like what the Iron Strider Ballistari have, because they have joints in the leg, and you can do a little bit of posing with that, and it's like instead of like something with a harness, like a scaled down Iron Strider legs, and this guy is sitting on top of them with like these fat joints, and then you can it's like then you can do some really good posing. You can and some serious hobbyists can do some more conversions with how to bend the leg and stuff and whatnot, and that would have really helped this model. But like it goes again, and overall also he doesn't really add anything in the army. Like the role that he fulfills, it can kind of be filled with the regular sniper dudes you can get in the Skitarii squads, because they can have Transeric and arquebuses as well. And I think he's trying to fit too much of a niche role, and it's not what the army needs. Like it doesn't really need snipers. It needs like if they were gonna do snipers for the AdMech, they should have made this a squad of 3 or a squad of 4 or 5, something like that, and because then it looks more dynamic, just visually, like straight up. Because then it's like it's a squad of snipers, like what the Eliminators do for Space Marines. Looks pretty good, and because then that also allows you to play up with different poses and different like and not just with the legs but also how they're holding the weapon. So it's like one is in the ready position, the other is like okay aiming, and the other is like holding it down and it's like hunkered down a little bit and something like that. So there's so many different opportunities they could have gone for here, but I think like so in general, not enough dynamism in the model, and I think that also speaks to the fact of how we've heard over the years that the design studio tends to operate. Specifically, the model designers, they come up with concepts and ideas first of new models, and then there's the rules and everything else that follows. So it's like the model department kind of lets down the concept a little bit. I can see what they're going for, but they didn't make this model like the cod piece that's hanging down the middle, this long exhaust thing, I think that exists purely because there's so much negative space between the legs, and they weren't sure how to portray that. Whereas, if instead of giving it still legs, they'd given him some these long, thick legs, which are tracked, and you can see the tracks going up. So it's like going up and like that, like cataphrons. There's a horizontal like a tank, but instead they could have given it like going horizontal like this, um, and split them so there's joints and you can do different stuff with it. That would have been better. And even then, the rules department, they could have come up with a better idea of what this model represents, which is again making it into a squad. But then again, if the model designers have only given us like this one idea of how this model is going to look, then the rules department is also limited in that fact. And then of course the AdMech codex is going to be actually going to be the third codex release we get in this edition, following on from Space Marines 2 days ago. And unlike with the Necrons, there was nothing in the article about if we can expect to see some more models down the line or not. I hope so, because again, I really want to see some chunky AdMech boys who are like melee oriented, like pistols and stuff, and they have these fancy swords or sides or something, drawing on the Archaeotech background with the army, which is like they hoard all this ancient technology, which is like just specific to them, and it's not shared with any other Imperium faction. And you see some fantastic stuff that's like particle emitters and hyper velocity munitions or whatever, different than what Space Marines get with the bolters and heavy bolters and whatnot. That would have been amazing. So there you can see the army shot, which doesn't really show off the new models as much. I think, in fact, I don't think the this image particularly shows off the new models at all, which is like what? I mean, like they do videos. They do a video review for each of the new model that they previewed, but it's like if you're gonna do a big army shot like this, like put a new model in. Not hard. So moving on to Age of Sigmar. So this one is Ionos Cryptborn. He is a Lord Relictor of the Stormcast Eternals, and he's actually one of the original characters that debuted with the range when Age of Sigmar was launched, almost 10 years ago now. Although then he was just a guy on foot. But now he's returned, and he's on top of this Age of Sigmar style of dragons. And, absolutely gorgeous model, which you can contrast with the recent Space Marine Chaplain that's come out. And it's like a lot of people are drawing the comparison, and I think fairly so, because like in 40K there's a certain style with the chaplains for the last few years, and it's like they don't go out of the box too much, but in AOS it's like sky's the limit, and they can just do whatever they want, however they want, and there's so much justification for doing new types of armor every single edition, new storm hosts, new storm chambers opening up and everything. So it's like whatever. There's only so many ways you can do a chaplain on foot or a chaplain on a bike, as the case may be. But here, again, we go back to the dynamism of the model. So it's like you can see the dragon itself is posed very dramatically. Ionis himself is posed dramatically. It's like he just landed on this piece of ruin, and the dragon is like the dragon is like yeah, ready to fight, and he's like Ionis himself is like he's signaling to an army, to a stormhost, like attack. You can like you look at the model and all these images coming ahead of what's going on or what's surrounding the model in the army. You come up with this visual narrative for yourself, and I think, and just the whole look of the model, the colors they used, it's absolutely amazing, and I'm sure you can do a lot more with it, as a conversion, as Kit Bash. But again, we're gonna see a lot more models down the line and I think he was like the absolute best reveal by far. So moving on, again, you see the details here. He has an amazing mask, and his the reliquary he's carrying. We don't have anything like that in our in 40K. I don't think like these skull reliquaries. So it's whatever, And again, look at the dragon, the amount of detail that's there. So just bonkers, absolutely bonkers. And of course, he's not going to be by himself. He's actually going to come in a box with these two other models, which is, I think it's a bit of a letdown. He should have been by himself. But what can you do? It's going to be a theme coming up with the other Age of Sigmar models and some other models down the line. It's like, they don't want to release these big kits by themselves. They want to like bundle stuff up, which is like, it's odd. But again, as someone who doesn't play Age of Sigmar and I haven't read the lore in like 5 years, 6 years, I have no idea what's going on with the story. But I mean, it looks amazing. We got some more Stormcast on dragons, and it's like, yes. Here we have another new model that's coming up for Age of Sigmar. So one thing I forgot to mention, these new models for Age of Sigmar, they're tied to the current narrative campaign that's going on in the setting, the Dawnbringers. So these guys are going to be released along with Book 3, which is coming up fairly soon, I believe. And this guy is, I believe his name is Beltanos. And he's an avatar of Kurnoth, the god of the hunt, or something like that. And I'm conflicted. The beetle that he's on looks amazing. Beltanos by himself looks fairly decent, but it's like the combination of the two, it just doesn't work for me. Like as a visually appealing model, because the colors on the character himself, they're a bit muted. They're not popping, and on the beetle, he looks too bright. Like I think if the beetle had been a little bit more muted, like a darker color, and the character himself was more bright, I think it would have popped more. But I mean, can't really argue with the heavy metal painting, So it's like, if it works, I guess. But not particularly a fan. Although I like the visual elements that go into it, and he's like, this is crazy, right? It's like Warhammer with its fantasy battles, or 40K, or now Age of Sigmar. It's like the imagination is just, it's like it knows no bounds, right? Here you have a literal like a tree super character riding a giant beetle, which is like, it's like, what? Like it shouldn't make sense, but it does. Especially when you consider that the main named character of the Sylvanet, the Tree Elves, and the Tree Fae, Alariel, the goddess, she herself rides a giant beetle. She looks amazing, absolutely gorgeous, like chef's kiss. And this guy is meant to evoke that a little bit, but like I'm focused way too much on the beetle rather than the character of Beltanos, and I think that's an issue. Like if the beetle had been, instead of like having its hind raised like that, if it had been like a bit more, like if it had been like this instead. So it's like, like you can see that the theme is like it's about to leap into action, which is why he's like this. But if it had been more like this, it's like it's more of what the model is projecting. Like this, like he just landed and he's about to like charge onto something. But if it had been more like this, like the orientation was reversed, then it'd be like, he's about to leap into like maybe an enemy in the sky. Would have been much better, I think, personally. So you can see some more details on the models. Like, of course, the amount of detail they can pack into plastic these days is just like mind blowing. They're doing some incredible stuff these days. Again. So again, he's gonna come into a box as well. I'm not sure what the I didn't read the AOS articles in detail, So I don't know what these guys are called. But again, just like Ionis, he's also going to be in a box with these 2 or 3 models and won't be on his own. So if you already have these models, then it's like you're going to be end up buying more. But for new players, it's good stuff. It's basically a character and a retinue, which I think it works. Conceptually, it works. Because like Marnius Cal got 40k when he was reborn to Primaris. He came with 2 special guard, the Victrix guard, and amazing sculpts, like amazing models. So that's kind of the theme they're going for, and I think it works. But if there was an option, I think it would work better, maybe. So here's the book. It's called The Long Hunt, and there's going to be a lot of detail about the next phase of AOS and what these characters are up to. Apparently, Ionos' Dragon Mount. He's a named character as well, and he's on his own quest, as is Ionis. So it's like, should be fun to read about. I really need to catch up on the AOS lore, and I think that this Dawnbringer series is going to be a really good base for that. As you can see here, some more stuff about the story contents. He might be going up against a Bloodthirster. Something should be fun to read about. And Kill Team Salvation. So this is the new box for Kill Team, and apparently for the next season, starter box. And it's going to be again Imperium versus Xenos, and specifically Raven Guard against the Eldar, and the Eldar faction that's going to be in there. It's going to be an aspect squad of Striking Scorpions, all redone. So this is the new Scouts model. Hold on. So these are the new Scouts model that were showed a while back, but they weren't released with the new codex because, I mean, they were being saved up for Kill Team reveal, which is so weird. It's like, it's a difference of like a week, 10 days. Like, you could have done much better with this, much better timing. The new models, I think they look fantastic, although I'm not a fan of the rules changes because you can no longer have dedicated sniper scouts, and it's all just one single data sheet with just a bunch of options. So here you can see the new Striking Scorpions, which look amazing. Striking Scorpions for me, Eldar lore has always been fantastic, and I really love that these guys, they come with these Mandate blasters on their helmets, like right here, which are like stingers, and they're like weapons of their own, and amazing lore behind these guys. Some really nice models, properly scaled up, like the recent Howling Banshees and stuff, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, I skipped ahead. So going back, so that's our new box for Kill Team. However, they're doing something a little different with this box. It's not going to have the full range of terrain. Instead of what's going to be in the box with Space Marines versus the Eldar, it's going to be these small terrain pieces, and presumably it's going to be a less expensive box than the usual. And this whole terrain box is going to be a separate buy. So they're effectively splitting the existing style of Kill Team starter boxes into 2. So the models with a little bit of terrain, and then another big box with huge amount of terrain. And with this one, they're doing something a little different, which is like this time it's going to be on a water world, which I think conceptually is amazing. And these sculpts are there also look amazing. I don't know how much of it is new or how much of it is old, but I think visually this looks amazing. If you wanted to do like a big board of this, there's so much that can be done, mixing and matching some other previous bits. But an oil rig on a water world, I think, and like if you look in the middle, amazing textures there, amazing design. I don't know too much about Kill Team. I never played it. I bought some of the boxes, as I said in my preview video, but this would have been amazing terrain to get, and it's going to be a unique opportunity for a lot of hobbyists out there and a lot of TOs, tournament TOs, for doing something different with their boards for their events and stuff. But I mean, there's a lot that could be said about the decision to split the box models versus the terrain, um, because before it's like you could say that it's either like the models are discounted or the terrain is discounted in those boxes, whereas now it's going to be like together it's going to cost more for sure, but I think it's a nice option. There's pros and cons for both, depending who you ask. Everyone's going to go for something different. That's what it is. So, yep, that's the models like we discussed. And now we get to Warhammer the Old World, which is like, yes, finally. We've seen some reveals. They'd shared some CAD stuff before, some hints of models before, but now we're getting into our first proper full look at what the one of the two launch armies for the system is going to be. So this is Knights of Batonia, as I was mentioning in my previous video, and this guy is brand new plastic sculpt. It's a Duke on a Pegasus, and if I was going to rank, Ionis at the top, and this guy's second, because just looks amazing. I absolutely love this model. Knights on Pegasus. It's a unique image, right, in fantasy, and Warhammer has done so much with it for fantasy battles in the past, and this too, man. It's like, oh, just like again, chef's kiss of a model. And here you can see some more details of the model. It's a very like, again, you can see the dynamism of the model. It's like the Pegasus is rearing up, and the Duke is like ordering a charge, and he has a shield in the front. It's like, let's go, guys. Let's f some shit up, and gorgeous. And here, this is actually going to be a variant available in the kit itself. So he's actually going to make 3 different models. So you can have a Duke on Pegasus, Baron on Pegasus, like you can see here, and then a Banner Bearer on Pegasus. So 3 different versions you can build in the kit, giving you lots of options, lots of different bits. And as I'll talk about for our next couple of new models that are revealed, a lot of this stuff is going to be interchangeable with the rest of the range. So that gives you so much potential for kit bashing and conversions and making stuff unique. So here, another new kit. These are going to be Knights on Foot, Knights of the Realm on Foot, I think, is what they're going to be called. And what I absolutely love is not about just this kit itself. Like, okay, so let's talk about the kit itself, right? So each model in this kit can be unique. They have mentioned in the article there's going to be enough bits to make each and every model in this 10-man unit unique. Different heads, different weapons, different different decorations on the bits, on the shields, on the weapons, and everything. You're gonna have a champion, you're gonna have a banner bearer, and stuff, and just like so much you can do in this kit. And it's like, I think this is what is really good for the hobby, not just for the old world, but also something you reflect in Age of Sigmar, because you can kit bash this stuff with the Cities of Sigmar units to have a unique army for yourself. But also, it reflects with 40K as well, because as I was talking a while back on social media, when I made my 10-man unit of Legion veterans for my Heresy Blood Angels, I mixed and matched like 6 different kits to make those models, and each model has something different going for it. Whether it's whether it's a helmet for it, or the chest pieces or the legs are different, the backpacks are different, some of the shoulder pads are different, some of the weapons are different because I've sourced the weapons from like 4 different kits or 5 different kits. So there's so much going on, and I think this is what's so amazing. It's like, this is like, whether you're casual or you're a serious hobbyist, this kind of thing, when there's modularity to the kits, that's when the hobby is elevated, and you give people so much more reason to go back again and buy those kits again and again, because it's like, well, I don't want to just kit bash. I want to build different. So here's another variant on the kit with different weapons for the squad, for the regiment. Uh, this, I believe, is a returning kit, which is like, I wish they'd done some new sculpts. Again, old sculpts here for Knights on Horse, and they're gonna be old. The peasant armies of the Bretonians, the bowmen, the mercenaries. This one, I believe, might be a new model. Again, looks amazing. It's the theme of the army because the Knights of Bretonia are like, there's the entire knight aspect, uh, the peasant aspect in miniature, and then there's with the whole magical side to things where they have these ladies who are the magicians in the army because the men in Bretonia are not allowed to do magic. So it's these women who are usually former noblewomen, uh, daughters and wives of the noble houses, who are given powers. And then, some more returning kits. So there's like, overall, I would say there's so much that was revealed. And I will say that I can understand why the entire launch range for Betonia is not new plastic, because there's only so much they can do. There's only so much that they can feasibly spend on this because it's a matter of the old world is not their new flagship system for fantasy. That's AOS. 40K for sci-fi, say Age of Sigmar fantasy. The old world is tied to nostalgia, first and foremost, for fantasy battles. And it's evoking a different aspect of fantasy than Age of Sigmar does. And it has a lot of different themes to it, and a lot of the factions are completely different. And again, Tomb Kings, who are the second launch army, and Knights of Betonia, they're not represented in Age of Sigmar, which is one of the reasons that they've chosen these two armies instead of something else. You could say there's some overlap between the Tomb Kings and like the Oziark Bone Reapers or some of the other undead factions, like the ones led by Nagash. But like the Tomb Kings are, their own thing. And Knights of Betonia, again, some of it is new plastic, some of it is old plastic, some of it is resin, and as you can see with this model, this used to be, I think this was used to be metal, but it's being retooled as forge wall resin. So it's like I can see why, why there's going to be a bit of discontinuity between the range. It's like so you have these amazing sculpts, like with the new Duke and the Knights on Foot, and like the peasant armies that you can field, and with the trebuchet and the Knights on Horse being old plastic or old resin or what have you. And it's like I get it, but again, there's only so much resources they can devote to all this new stuff, because new plastic means new plastic injection molds and all that stuff, and that's expensive, and having to uh, devote some more and more space to all these different things. And as we know, Games Workshop for the last 2 years, they've already been struggling on the production and distribution and warehousing front. So it's like it's fantastic that the old world is happening, and I think it's amazing that we're getting as much new stuff as we are for this. But again, I understand on a business level why it is like it is, and there's not more new plastic, and yeah, people are gonna have to have this mismatched army and stuff. But it's like again, you know, use all these new bits you're getting, mix with Cities of Sigmar stuff, or some you 3D print your stuff. You know, the hobby is so much more open these days. Of course, for official events with Games Workshop, you might have some issues. Independent TOs and stuff. or your own local hobby group. And if everything goes, man, just go crazy. They're giving you such a good base with the army. So, just look at how you can build. Be positive about it. Don't bitch. Don't piss and moan. Just focus on the good things, man. And just just go crazy. And anyways, so last point here with the, you can read here. So one of the main things that's going to happen with some of these new boxes for the regiments that's coming out, for the quote unquote squads, as we say in 40K and Age of Sigmar, because the old world is rank and file. It's square bases, movement trays. You're moving anywhere from 10 to 30 models at a time, or your main squads, your main units. They're not skirmish like Age of Sigmar and 40K. It's armies. It's literal armies. 10, like I said, 10 to 30 models, or I don't know, maybe even more at a time. So oftentimes, it's been an issue back in fantasy battles where you're starting a new army and you want to have buy a unit, but it's like, okay, this only makes 10 guys. You need 20, you need 30 for them to be effective. So they say that you will have enough models in the actual boxes to make up to 30 guys. So I don't know how they're going to do it, whether the option is going to be, it's like they're going to launch unit where you can have units of 10 in a box and units of 30 in a box, so two separate boxes, or it's just going to be just a 30 person boxes. So they used to do back in the day for 40K, like for Space Marines. You could buy a tactical squad of Space Marines, which was 10 models, or you could buy a combat squad, which is 5 models. Of course, that's being a thing of the past for a lot of years now. But looking back at it, it's like if you look at 40K and a lot of Age of Sigmar units these days, they come in sizes of 10. So it's like either 3 or they come in as 5 and 10. And they can be upscaled to the 5-person squads can be upscaled up to 10, or the 3-person ones can go up to 6. Most cases, some they can't. So whatever. But I think this is a very positive development for the game, and it's going to make things a whole lot better for new people getting in the army. And I like to say it's actually 32, not 30, like I was saying. So I think that's amazing, because some units you just need that mass. Need that mass rank just to be able to, for it to look good and for it to be effective on the battlefield. And everything's going to be available at Games Workshop. And as I say, we are looking at an early 2024 release. Now, since I got all these images together and everything, there's been a little bit more development on that front, where it's like they accidentally revealed the month that the overworld is going to launch, which is February 2024. Then they deleted that image very quickly, replacing it with an edited one. But it's like early 2024, right? So it's like whatever. It's coming very soon, and we have these reviews chat us down, and they did not give us details on what's going to be in the Knights of Britonia launch box. We're still waiting to see that. It's not clear exactly what all is going to be in the box. I'm going to guess it's going to be the new Duke and probably like 20 to 30 of the new Knights. Maybe some of the old plastic as well. We'll see. I don't think we'll have peasants in that launch box. Hope not. So that's there, and the website is already live. It went live on Monday. We're on Wednesday now, so just be sure to check that out. And so that's all that I have for you guys today. And it's overall, they build it as 40 years of Warhammer. It was Warhammer Day. So in that aspect, I think the overall, the entire reveals were kind of disappointing. There was for me personally, there were only 2 models that stood out: Ionis and the Duke on Pegasus. Uh, I was expecting more, a whole lot more. Like for 40K for the two codices, they give us a brief look at some of the rules, new rules that those armies are getting. But it's like, I needed something with a bit more punch, something more army-wide for 40K. And, Age of Sigmar, it's nice they showed off the Dawnbringers, but maybe they could have given us a preview on the next army book that's coming for the setting, for the system. And Old World, I think they could have announced the launch box, what's going to be the launch box, and maybe even give us a sneak preview of at least one major new plastic kit for the Tomb Kings. Um, so it's like whatever. And Kill Team, it's nice. It was scouts. We've already seen the scouts, so it wasn't a big deal. However, they did do them as Raven Guard, which is different. They usually do Ultramarines for most of the generic kits that are coming out, but this time they did Raven Guard, and the models look amazing as Raven Guard. That was there, Striking Scorpions again. Um, Great models. I love that more and more aspect squads are getting redone with the new upscaled, more detailed models and stuff. But 40K downer, Age of Sigmar mostly up. The old world also mostly up. Kill Team, it's whatever. But overall, some nice things on it that they mentioned, and the hype train continues. Um, there is going to be one more reveal in about a month, I think. They mentioned on stream. I don't remember exactly. Maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Can have another reveal. So stay tuned for that. I'll be back with some more details on what was shown, some more thoughts on the models, and we're gonna have a grand old time with that. So, anyways, guys, that's all for me today. Be sure to check out the socials. Check out. I just posted yesterday and today some more new models I finished painting up. My three blade guard that I built a while back. They're all painted up. The pics are up on my social media. And also today I finished up my Chaos Lord for my Red Corsair army. I started back in 8th. He's a converted, kit bashed Creator Primaris captain. Check that out. Give your feedback, and we'll be back very soon with another video review. I have one that's been pending for a few days, actually a couple of weeks now. So be sure to check for that on the channel. So I'll catch you all very soon, and I think I'll be streaming again today. Just look out on the channel, guys. Cheers. Bye. Love you all.